My name is Derek. This is a chronicle of my hobby. Welcome to the Throne of Angels.
Longtime followers and friends of the channel know that I have a love affair for bases. One could say I'm a base head. Not that kind of base head. Ah, yes, a base head. I absolutely love doing base work for the miniature hobby. It is literally the starting point for me to tell a story. And that's the one thing that I really love about this hobby is it's all about storytelling. Just visually as opposed to the written word. Now, I know what those longtime followers and friends of the channel are saying, and that is probably something along the lines of, what the hell, Oz, where's the yelling, the shouting, the smashing, the hammer? Well, as I said last episode, it's time for a change. And part of that change is I don't want a table in front of me anymore, so I've got nothing to smash my hammer on, which is, really sad. I mean, I guess I could swing it and hit the wall, but it's not gonna last very long, so there'll be no more hammer smashing, probably, most likely. Yeah, probably not. Even when we move locations here, probably in about a year, right? So I'm stuck in this place for another year or so, and then we will be moving to what I would consider a pre-built studio, because I'm going to build it out before I move into it. You'll be along for the ride for that, I'm sure. But as I said, changes are on the horizon, and we are now hitting that horizon. So the intro's obviously a little bit different. You guys, I'm sure, have noticed that. No more smashing and slamming of the hammer. No more yelling about welcome to the next episode of. And, well, we're just going to basically start right in. I'm going to shorten the content, so I'm going to try to keep it around 10 to 12 minutes. And I'm going to show a little bit more of my work process as opposed to showing things that are complete. So with that, let's talk a little bit about basing, right? So we'll put the hammer down and talk about what's going on. Now, when our friends over at Ammo by Mig sent me a number of their Mig Wargaming Universe kits, well, quite honestly, as a couple of them are basing kits, my head damn near exploded. Boom! Right? It was like super exciting for me to take a look at something that somebody had given a lot of thought to in regards to that process. Boxes are pretty, right? I mean, they're pretty boxes. On the slide card, it shows you exactly what's inside. Every single one of these boxes has a different mix of contents, and each set of contents is shown on the slide card. Now I've got volcanic soils and distant steps, and then I actually have weathering for armor. We're going to do a series with a Juggernaut Extreme, Commodore Warjack, with that. Probably not a series, it's more likely just going to be one episode. But today we're going to focus on distant steps. We're going to have a look at how I have been exploring this fantastic little kit. So let's take a look. When you slide the top off the box, every single one of these kits has basically a manual in it, right? So these manuals are fantastic. They are full color. They give an introduction to the individual who's essentially responsible for this line, and then they go over every single product in detail, what the products are, and how to use them. Now, if you guys don't know Ammo by Mig, they are literally probably the world's largest supplier of hobby type products for the military model industry, right? Tanks and planes and things of that nature. So a lot of stuff is enamel. They do have a full acrylic line. They've got lines of grass and tufts and stones and shaders, and I mean their line is just absolutely immense. They also give you quick tips on how to use enamel products and various things that they have. These oil brushers, oh my god, these things are amazing. We'll get into those later. But then it basically steps into step-by-step instructions.
All right, here's this product. This is what you do with it and how you use it. Here's this product. This is what you do with it and how you use it. Here's this product. This is what you do with it and how you use it. It is a step-by-step overview, literally, of every single product in this box, where it goes, how to use it, what to do with it. And, you know, I mean, those of us who've been in the hobby for a long time, we know. But those who are just starting the hobby, this is an absolute invaluable tool. It's fantastic. Now, as you can see, things inside the box have knocked around because I was really excitedly shaking this thing up to start out with. Now, I'm going to be fully honest. I have used most of these products, so most of these are open. A couple of them aren't because I haven't got to that stage yet. But as you can see, we have ground palms. These things are awesome. Essentially, it's laser cut paper that we get to utilize to decorate our bases. We have tufts, right? Everybody knows what tufts are. These things are awesome. We super glue them to our bases when we're done. We have gray stone. That's what they call these. This is basically large scale talus for those of you in the model railroad side of things. But great stones for adding to your bases. Static grass, I'm not pulling this out because it's underneath this piece of foam. This is basically stage one, right? The vignettes acrylic mud. This stuff is absolutely fantastic. I have literally fallen in love with this stuff, and I'll give you a couple of quick overviews of what it is. White. No, it's actually gray. But step two is the crackle medium, right? So this is, they call it Quake, the crackle creator. It does come in various colors, right? So this is baked earth. All this stuff you can basically just go straight out of the box. You don't even have to apply paint to it. Now you guys all know that I'm gonna paint it. But we have dry brush paint specifically for dry brushing. This stuff is crazy. I didn't like the Games Workshop dry brush paint. This stuff, however, I really like, and we'll go over that probably in a further episode because I am not at that step with the project that I'm using this for, and I'll show you that here in a second. It comes with its own glue. This glue is freaking phenomenal, right? So normally I just grab whatever glue is on clearance at Target, and that's what I use for my basing glue. I'll be honest with you, after that bottle is empty, I am turning everything over to this stuff. This stuff is so much better than a standard white PVA glue. I can't even tell you why or how, it just is, right? It dries clear, but it dries quick and it dries really hard. So the stuff that I glue down with this doesn't move. It's amazing. Nature Effects. So this is Earth Nature Effects. This is, it's like an enamel dye almost. It's very cool. Adds a really good shade color to the process and essentially the product of what I'm doing. Again, I'll show you this guy or this stuff as we move more into the Wolfen shaders. This is dirt. I haven't used this yet, but based off of what I understand of this is it's almost like a heavy pigmented ink. So we'll do some experimenting with that. Pigment, we all know what pigment is, right? This is dry pigment. Europe Earth is the name of this one. And then enamel odorless thinner for a couple of the products in here, right? The Nature Effects. And I don't remember if the dirt is enamel or the shader is enamel or not. I think this is acrylic, but we'll double check that. So essentially the enamel then would be only for the Nature Effects in this kit. So what am I doing with this kit? Let's take a look really quick at that. Okay, so this is what I am doing with this kit to start out with. For those of you who are or who have been around for a while, you recognize these models immediately. This is essentially the Predators of Blood and Vargars from the Confrontation Wolfen line. Basically giant werewolves with big ass weapons. Some of the best models, in my opinion, ever made, and I absolutely love this line. But as you can see, the bases have this product line established into it, right? So I've done some testing with some other bases. This is the mud, obviously the rocks. This one has the mud and the quake and the rocks as well. So this is where these guys are at, right? They've got mud, they've got the crackle medium, and they've got rocks on them. In the instruction manual, it takes you a little bit further. It has you dry brush, or actually it has you add the dirt shader, do the dry brush, and then add the earth shade, and then the various, grasses and whatnot to that. Well, you guys who have been around a while know that my process is a little bit different, right? I don't always do the base completely and then take a model and put it on top of it. I normally like to paint the model on the base. So that means I end up in the middle of the process. As you can see, sorry about that, I've got the bases already halfway through that process, and I'm working into getting some paint on them. So once I get paint on the models and paint on the bases, then we'll go and utilize the other products in that box to finish the bases up so they look similar to what the quote-unquote box product looks like. Colors will be different, obviously, because I'm probably not going to go with the dry brownish gray. It'll more than likely be a either a deep brown or a green brown forested area with some dried mud, but haven't made that decision completely just yet. However, still the products in there will help me dictate kind of where we go with that. We're going to take a quick look right now at the initial process, right, of putting down the mud and putting down the crackle medium and then throwing some rocks on it, so you can see essentially what the product looks like inside the bottles. Step 1, vignette mud. This stuff is fantastic texture paste. Now, you'll see I scoop it out with a spatula and just spread it liberally all over the top of the base. I've used half a dozen or so texture pastes in the past. The one thing that really differentiates this from those is its tackiness. It has this great tackiness to it that allows you to kind of build out a little bit of additional texture if you want. It dries to a really super hard finish, and it's very easy to apply paint and additional texture work to once it's dry. Now that our mud is dry, you can see the texture I'm talking about. Step 2, the quake and the shake. So we open the bottle. Obviously we got a little air bubble in there, but we take an old brush, and I use old brushes that I pick up at craft stores generally for all of my basing and glue, mainly just due to the fact that at like 20 cents a piece I don't care if they get ruined. But we apply this liberally where we want texture, and I will say, just my own personal experience with crackle medium, the thicker that you apply it to whatever you're applying it to, the larger the cracks. If you want small cracks, you keep it kind of thin. If you want large cracks, you definitely want to kind of cake it on like I'm doing here. I want some larger cracks, a little bit more noticeable on my basing. My next step in the process is a bit of a deviation from the manual included with the kit. As you see, I've grabbed the Ultra Glue, and I'm going to apply some gray stones to the base before I add the models and hit them with a primer. So we dab the Ultra Glue, which is a nice white acrylic glue, so it's water-based, basically where I want it. Grab some stones, throw them on the base, and we are ready to attach a model.
And the wrap! Alright, so I'll probably keep the wrap, mainly because it just allows me to unwind my thoughts and introduce you to what's coming next, right? Now, I've done my best in the past to kind of say, hey, here's what's coming. And half the time it works and half the time it doesn't. Best laid plans, right? Best laid plans. Now, in regards to wrapping, what we just looked at. Right, if you didn't know, you now know. I absolutely love the basing process. To me, it is one of my favorite things, period. And these kits really allow me to kind of explore a new way to go about it, right? Because I can pick it up, one-stop shop, and I can experiment and play with some new stuff and have some fun. As you saw, there's some stuff in there that I have never touched before, which is awesome because I've been in this hobby for like 30-some years. So, what is coming next? Well, obviously change on the horizon, and as I said, we're hitting that horizon right now. The project side of things won't change, just how I present the project side of things is going to change. I'm going to actually show more of my process as opposed to just showing the completed stuff when it's done, because sometimes I forget to film that before I get rid of it, or I just don't get to it and I hobby butterfly onto something else. Well, this will force me to be a little bit more committed to that. What we have next, as I said, is I'm probably going to call it Operation Reclamation or something along those lines. as I take job lots that I've bought in the past. You know, being a huge Confrontation fan, those of you that know me know I'm a huge Confrontation fan, and I have thousands of Confrontation models. Sometimes I'll buy a job lot just for one particular model that I'm missing in my collection. Now I'm going to take some of those job lots, clean them up, reset them, repaint them, and then get them back out into the wild, sell them out to the Confrontation players that are out there, right? It's still a game that's going fairly strong, which really is surprising. But these models deserve to have some table time, right? Instead of just sitting inside of a box in my hobby collection. I have my collection that I want to keep, and then I have stuff that I will never ever use if I play Confrontation, or that I will never proxy into other products. I also have some products that are just massive amounts of duplicates, right? So right now, sitting there as I showed you, I've got some Wolfen with the bases set and ready, and they're ready for some paint. I did just get the all-new Army Painter Speed Paint Complete set, and it is unpacked and in the paint carousel. We'll be using a lot of those colors for some of these upcoming projects. And I'll show you how I use speed paints. I use them a little differently than most people, and you'll get to see part of that process. So with that, like I said, projects coming up. I've talked in the past about the Reign of Chaos. That's not going to change. I still have my Beastmen here, and there's 2 or 3 models sitting next to those Wolfen that are part of that. That'll continue, and then I'll move on to Blades of Corn from there. I'm also going to probably start doing some small battle forces for 40K as 10th edition comes around the corner. I got a lot of buddies locally who want to play some 40K, so I may get suckered into something. And if that's the case, I just want to play little small, what do they call their little battle forces? There's a little small thing. Uncle Adam does a video series on them. He really enjoys that side of things. So I might just check that out. It's the next step up from Kill Team, basically. Battle something or other, I don't remember. But anyways, so we'll probably see some 40K content. We'll definitely continue to see Age of Sigmar content. We will look at, again, Operation Reclamation in regards to getting some old Confrontation or maybe even some old models from other lines into the hobby channel, my hobby channel, that is, and then back out into the wide universe so people can use fully painted models. So with that, I have said enough for this episode, and hopefully you like the changes. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm going to do my best to become a little bit more interactive and a little bit more regular as I'm looking at putting more time into remote work as opposed to going to an office. So, I'd love to say, or close it out as always, we'll see you in 2, but I'm going to change that as well, because I don't know if it'll be 2, I don't know if it'll be 1, I don't even know if it'll be 2 days, but I am going to, like I said, work on more content. So we will see you next time. Three, 2, 1. Oz, time for a change. You're good to go.